On to our next topic for this evening, and that is surrounding the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. Obviously lost over the weekend to the Baltimore Ravens. However, it was pre the game, well, pre really the weekend that sort of really put the spotlight on Joe Burrow on the Cincinnati Bengals. He was in a press conference, made a lot of comments that sort of indicate he was really not happy in Cincinnati, maybe not really happy with what's going on with him, maybe, or within the franchise, within the coaching staff. It was all very ambiguous, and it is now promoted everybody really within the NFL sphere to feel like what is the future for Joe Burrow and what does the future hold for him? Obviously, now trade rumors swirling everywhere. We're sort of getting into that moment now where teams' draft stock is getting quite solidified of where they will be picking. So now, therefore, we know in the region of what picks they might have and if they are able to deal them as well. But yeah, he made a lot of comments that felt like it could spell the end really for him in Cincinnati. Sky. I mean, they're 4-10, third in the AFC North. Lost to the Ravens, didn't even score a point over the weekend, 24-0. That comes after back-to-back losses after losing to the Buffalo Bills as well in a really valiant effort in the snow the week prior. It's been gone from bad to worse with the Cincinnati Bengals, and we've said, and since they made that Super Bowl appearance, it has felt like a very steady decline. Even though they had a winning record last season, every season he's been there outside of 2020, and then this season as well. Gone 10-7, 12-4, 9-8, 9-8. It's felt like it's sort of stagnating with Cincinnati, and are you surprised by Burrow's comments prior to this weekend, or do you feel like it's just been slightly exaggerated?
I don't know. I do find it weird that when your teammates have been hanging in there all season while you've been out, they went and got Joe Flacco. Obviously, tried to, and we're in a lot of games. To then have one loss in Buffalo and then suddenly throw your toys out the pram. It's a bit. And the thing that really frustrates me with Joe Burrow is that I do genuinely believe that when he's healthy, he is the best pure quarterback in the league. The way he throws the ball, the way he manages, it calls audibles, runs an offense. We've seen that. We had multiple conversations last year that if they made the playoffs, they could have gone deep and he would have been MVP candidate. But I just feel like the attitude's a bit off. But some people might look at that to be a good thing because he wants to win. But I don't think there's any retirement. I don't even think he will leave the Bengals. And the only thing that also comes down to, which we have all said before, I'm not in the business of feeling sorry for a guy who got helped to get his two offensive mates get paid as well. The cap.
This was exactly the point I was actually going to make next. Is that you have both said on this before, Sky, but hang on, Joe, you can't complain too much. You got Jamar paid, your mate from LSU. You got T paid. We went and found a good running back for you. We've tried to solidify the offensive line where we can, but they have let him down in terms of defensive stars wise.
It was just different in terms of obviously when they made that Super Bowl, young team, the only issue is the O-line, but then the big contracts happen and then, Amarumo gets fired and you look at the Colts and how they even did yesterday defensively with injuries in their secondary against a very good Seattle offense. The scapegoat there has not worked out. There clearly is an issue within the franchise. But then again, Zach Taylor's not going to get fired because Joe Burrow's been hurt again all year. So I don't really see anything changing, but maybe Adam's a bit more optimistic. At least they've got the nice road jerseys, the white ones. I like those.
Only you could come up with a jersey reason to be
happy. It's fine looking good when you're losing. That's what I'm getting to.
So you think Scott, there's no chance he retires or gets traded? Because I've got a few teams that I think could reasonably.
Give over. What are you on?
I mean, me, the only one with the capital, right?
He's not. He ain't going nowhere. Okay. I will concede. I do feel like we could potentially have an Andrew Luck situation in the not too distant future. I will concede that, but there is no way they're trading it. Can you imagine?
We have seen in history, and I'm not saying Carson Palmer is Joe Burrow. I'm not saying that, but Palmer did the same thing. He was like, Cincinnati, you're doing nothing for me. It's not happening. I'm retiring, or you trade me. And he got traded to the Cardinals.
That's good knowledge, Fred.
And was pretty successful for a while.
I just can't see it. I really can't. I think that there's no I just cannot see the Bengals willingly trading him. They will
not even for a horde. Not even for a horde. Because when I've looked at it, I've whittled it down to really reasonably Raiders, Jets, Vikings, Cardinals, Rams. That's where I've sort of whittled it down to a little bit, which I say most people when we're talking about it would probably say them teams. It's not like I've suddenly say again.
I only see the Jets, given what's happened.
Well, if look at let's look at the biggest scale picture of this. The 2026 cap space room. Second is Raiders, fourth is Jets, sixth is Rams, 16th is Cardinals, 30th is Vikings. Simply can't afford it unless they made some dramatic moves. 27 cap space. First is Jets, second is Rams, third is Raiders, eighth is Cardinals, 28th is Vikings. So let's rule the Vikings out of it. They're just not going to get cap space unless they did something unreal with chopping and changing and moving the cap around. Whereas the rest of them, I was quite surprised the Rams are sixth and second, but actually they've got a really young team. So like that's actually a bit more explainable. Then you look at picks, Raiders picks. They've got first every year for 26, 27, 28, just one. Only 1 second in each of them 3 years. Only 1 third in each of them 3 years. And reasonably, a quarterback would probably be going in the other way. Geno Smith. That's not particularly a scintillating move. The Jets. 2 first rounds in 26, 3 first rounds in 27, 1 first round in 28. Definitely got the ammunition, as well as having 2 seconds in 26, 1 in 27, 1 in 28. They've got a load in 27, in 2026. They've got a load of 7th rounders, but let's not force that into the equation either. The Vikings only one. Sorry, we discounted the Vikings. The Rams 2 first round picks in 26, 1 in 27, 1 in 28. I've only got 1 in 2 and 3 rounds as well. And then Cardinals weirdly have every single one of their own pick once for the next 3 years, have just not moved anything or tried to improve or go and grab anyone for what feels like the longest time now. It feels like. So I would concede to Sky that Jets is the one, but then when you look at the Rams, Joe Burrow's not going to say no to the Rams if he has any sort of say in it.
I just think that, we're talking about, I was saying about throwing his toys out the pram, the way he's acting like I can't believe I'm about to say this. You're dyeing your hair blonde, you're being a fashionista. He's going to go New York. He's not going to go to half of these other places. He's going to.
You don't think he goes to the LA Rams, California, offensive-minded head coach, incredible defense? Stafford could retire easily. Stafford's on that right side now of retirement.
I'm hoping Stafford does his Brady and hangs around for a few more years. I mean, okay, he could go to the Rams, obviously. That's fair. I mean, I think he'd be more likely to go to the Steelers just to say, F you to the Bengals.
The Bengals are not trading him in division. It's not going to happen. That is also why I'd maybe veer away from the Jets a little bit, because they are the AFC team. You know what I mean? Like, so if you were to factor that in there.
You said the Raiders as well. I mean, maybe Brady's in the ownership. It's Vegas. I think he, given the way he's acted, I see him as a guy, he's talking about having fun, right? Well, like you said, fun places would be LA, Vegas, New York. Now going to have much fun in Arizona with the autonomous Ubers like driving you around.
I mean, one point I have made, definitely when me and Adam have done the pod, is that I don't think anyone says it, but Joe Burrow is now historically a injury-prone quarterback. He is. He 2020 tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL. 2020 dislocated his pinky, but he didn't miss any games. But you can correlate that big a major injury if you wanted to. Suffered an MCL sprain in the Super Bowl. Didn't miss a game in 2022, but still got injured. Tore a ligament in his wrist ending the season in 2023. Got the turf toe injury this year. Has missed predominantly most of the season. Like, actually, is it even when we talk about team strength from, and like you said, Sky, earlier, on his day, everything bearing good, I think as a pure quarterback, he is the best in the league. I mean, Adam, that has to be factored into that notion. Now, even Cincinnati, I think, has to factor that in a little bit. Is that, you're fantastic when you play, but I mean, he's had 3 seasons. He's played the whole season.
Yeah.
Out of 6. That's 50%.
Sorry. This is like the most bizarre conversation I've ever had.
Why is it bizarre? I think how we both laid it out is not that bizarre.
Right.
Though.
So when me and Andrew did the betting show on Friday night, And he mentioned this as a potential topic, and he said to me, "Do you think he'd go anywhere?" And I went, "No, obviously not. Why are we having this conversation?"
Let me spin the question differently for you then.
Okay.
If he's not going anywhere, but he's doing a lot of stuff like this where he's acting out, saying he's not too happy, etc. What does Cincinnati need to do then?
Get rid of the head coach for starters.
But does he want another rebuild? Does he need another head coach?
He's in a rebuild. Look at where he is. He's in a rebuild. You need to get rid of the head coach. They need to start again. It's not improving, is it? The head coach does not improve Joe Burrow in any way. Look, if you want to talk about the reason,
someone may have said that at the start of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we agreed with you.
No, look, you didn't. You said let's see what he does.
No, I was more than happy for him to get chucked off. It didn't bother me. Look, I think that you've got a problem with Cincinnati. The biggest issue is that the owner is not cash rich. So this is the real problem. You're not going to get people being fired. You're not going to get, loads of money being spent on free agents. So I can understand the point of view where you sort of think to yourself, oh yeah, if Joe Burrow can go somewhere else at a better team, then it'll probably all work out better for him. And that would be lovely for Joe Burrow, but something tells me the Bengals might not be that keen on it. A lot of these teams, you say the Jets have got lots of picks. Yeah, they do. But does he want to go to the Jets? I mean, honestly, of all the teams to send him to, you come out and you say he's put in a lot of effort to get his two mates traded. His two mates paid. So why does he want to leave them?
Take them with him. Do it, Aaron Rodgers.
No, because who's going to be able to afford all three? You donut.
I mean, that's what it playing into that personality trait, and that's, let's call it for what it's maybe worth, selfishness. That's why some people saying Vikings because of that Justin Jefferson thing, because obviously they were like,
I can kind of see that. But Chase is his guy, isn't it, from LSU? It's not going to look. He's acting out because he's pissed off about what's going on. That's what it is. He wants things to change. He wants them to be able to. I think he wants the Bengals to change with him. Have that same sort of.
Just a whole field of beach blonde-haired lads running.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what he wants. he wants
him just going, do as I say, not as I do.
He wants the organization to be as, I suppose, as sort of like attacking at trying to win something as what he feels that he is. And he knows that he needs Chase. He knows that he needs Higgins in order to be able to do that. But they've let him down on the defense. They've let him down on the O-line. The O-line is atrocious. That needs to happen as well. They need to sort of spend the money and invest in that. The problem is that they're just not a cash-rich team. They can't do these long contracts and void years like the Eagles can and sort of like spread it all out. They just don't have the finances to do it. And that's where the issue comes in. If the Bengals traded him, they'd be a joke.
Yeah. But they are anyway.
That's why it will never happen.
But they are anyway. To Sky's point, they are anyway.
Yeah, but they're all right. There'd be a bigger joke.
He won't. And I know people say this Andrew Luck thing as well. I'm not like diminishing the injuries that he's had, Fred, like you said. But like Andrew Luck had like kidney, like injuries. I'm not saying that these are not like legit, but as in like Andrew Luck got beat. If Joe Burrow thinks that his O-line's bad, anyone who's watching the Colts for years, like Andrew Luck was like carrying a team on his back, bad, and playing through a lot of injuries. Obviously, like not saying Joe Burrow hasn't done that as well because there've been lower leg issues, but I mean, I think Adam's like 90% going to be right. He is going to stay in Cincinnati. It's nice to play, play Madden.
I have to admit, whilst researching it, I did use the shout out to this website, Spot Track, and I didn't realize they had a function where you can where you can basically plan the next season for a team, and you can do like the roster cuts and everything like that. And I think it's quite in depth. However, I was more looking at like the trades of Joe Burrow going to his team, and I got a little bit too long-winded into it, and I was like, okay, like. Now I'm just getting a bit silly here because what I wanted a bit more of a breakdown of like the cap movement rather than like pick for player and stuff like that. I wanted to see who could feasibly take on the cap and things like that, which I didn't really get the bottom to. There's far too many numbers. But that if you do want to play manager or Madden in that sense with Joe Burrow and how it would work and where it could go, that would be the case. I mean, yeah, I think if you're getting rid of Burrow, you're doing full franchise reset, as in you need to get all the picks you can get, move with them picks as well. You probably want a quarterback back. There'd be a lot of moving parts.
Justin
And
Fields
also,
will be back.
can I just say, if they traded him to the Rams, we might as well all just go home now.
Oh, if he can stay on the field.
Well, the O-line's a lot better.
Yeah, that is mad, by the way, Fred, about only 3 full seasons.
In 6 years.
That's actually insane. Like, given like me, what I'm saying about, best when he's healthy, and it just goes to show that, like, you make one Super Bowl and people hold you in such a high regard. But yeah, will the real Joe Burrow, I don't know, please stand up? Or
yeah, I mean, yeah. So yes, 2021 and 22, we did 16 games. That was 16 game season. Or 17 game season, but they probably didn't play him in the last game of the season. 10 games in 2020, 10 games in 23, full 17 in 2024, and then 5 games this year so far. So yeah, I just think even when you got to factor that in, that he doesn't actually, if we've just been talking about Pat Mahomes, first time he's ever had a proper injury, and Josh Allen never really been properly in, he's in that same bracket. I know Lamar's been injured. You could probably put him in the bracket, maybe a little bit injury prone, but that is his game as well, because he's that sort of style quarterback where he moves around, whereas Burrow is a pocket passer. It's not his style to go out and go and get hits, I suppose.
Has he got a superstar missus? Maybe that's where he's going wrong. Taylor Swift, Haley Steinfeld, like Joe Burrow. What are you doing? Like this, where's your support? Stop looking out for your mates. Go to New York, find yourself a woman, and turn the Jets around. Be the new Joe Namath.
Well, that's what you're going to say. You think if we're talking about him being sort of egotistical, you don't think that Joe Burrow wouldn't love to go to the Jets, who are trash,
exactly?
From a playoff? I agree. Like, that would be full Bonerville for that bloke. Like, ridiculous. As a Steeler fan, look for the trade.